Welcome, my brilliant providers. I'm Marinda Love. My job is to make your work as delightful as possible, making your dream practice inevitable. Today, we are talking the top six incomplete or untruths that you've been taught by the self help industry, the personal development industry, entrepreneur training, leadership training, spiritual world, whichever realm you do this work in. There are some truths that are being taught. That's what they learned. That's what they were taught. And these are pervasive teachings that I'm seeing that are either incomplete or they're completely untrue. So we're going to talk about those six today and about how that applies to you developing, leading, and expanding your dream practice. Okay, so the first one is that burnout is about being tired. It's not true. I define burnout as having to not care about things that you deeply, deeply do. Burnout is a cycle of feeling dismay at how terrible things are, or not how like you imagined they would be things are, or this awe and dismay at what you're seeing. Then it's feeling defiant about that. I'm going to show them. They're going to see, help me help you, feeling rebellious and wanting to do something about it. But then you step on somebody's toes, somebody thinks you're being insubordinate, and you feel defeated. Now, in protecting yourself, you can only go through this cycle so many times before you need to disassociate. You know what? I can't put myself through that roller coaster every day. I just need to go to work. I need to just go through the motions, do a good job of doing my job and go. I'm like, I just can't stress about all this stuff, even though this really matters to me. And that is what I call burnout. So, burnout, yes, you're tired, but it's not simply about being tired. And it's not until we come to this new understanding that we can actually get to the root of burnout and eliminate it. Now, I have included this in my program, Brilliant, but I'm also offering this program as a separate offering if you want to simply eliminate burnout in your world and deepen your understanding into sight. Okay. Imposter syndrome. The second uh, incorrect truth that you're being taught in the self help world that imposter syndrome should be eliminated. Now, maybe in other industries that's true, but what I see in healthcare is that imposter syndrome is simply wanting to do a good job of your job. We got into healthcare to do a great job of helping our patients, be an incredible resource, to lead teams to help patients, to be caring and compassionate providers bringing our unique perspectives and our skills and our gained knowledge as a resource for people that are looking for our assistance on their healthcare journey. You are simply wanting to do a good job of doing your job. And it's because you identify with imposter syndrome that I know you are the perfect person for the job. So it's not simply eliminating imposter syndrome. We still want you to care about doing a good job. What we want to do, though, is minimize imposter syndrome's impacts on you hesitating to do your job, to do a good job of your job. So we want to help you overcome those hesitations and that impact of feeling like, oh, you're not sure. We want to help you be confident. We want to help you do the training for your team members. We want to help you understand the emotional component that goes with it. And we want to help you target and focus on where it is you're headed, what it is that you want to do, so that some of that noise can go away. When it becomes not about you making this scary phone call, but it becomes about, hey, this is where I'm headed, this is where I'm going, this is my mission, these are my goals. And in order to achieve that, I'm going to make this phone call It takes some of the intimidation out of making that phone call. So that's imposter syndrome. The incorrect is that it should be eliminated. Now, I used to teach that. That was my initial understanding of it. But as I've taught this longer, as I've worked with more providers, I learned that that's simply not true. All right, here's another thing that they're going to teach you. This is the third one, that masculine leads. It's not true. Desire leads. Desire leads. Wanting things to be different than they are. Having a vision or a goal or how you want it to feel. I want to feel more free. I want it to feel more fun. I want it to feel more comfortable. I want it to feel more driven. I want it to feel more fulfilled. I want them to feel safe. That's what's going to drive you to doing the things, right? I want my children to feel like they can. I want students, I want women, my desire is for owning your desires, whether we can argue masculine, feminine, whatever, all day long. But it is the desire that leads. It is the action that supports that desire. Desire is how you want it to feel. And you're not going to own that desire until you have your back, until you have self trust, until you know that you will do what it takes to bring the resources in as people, as finances, as time to the support and structure to support that desire. Okay. So if you can see that desire, you can create that desire, which leads me into manifesting. This goes under this. When we are taught manifesting, we are taught to know exactly what you want and then surrender it all and just let it come into your experience. Here's where that's not true. What we are taught is through people's understanding, true, yes, but it's through this idea that action leads, that masculine leads. But when we understand this correctly, that desire leads, desire is how you want it to feel. You want to know that exactly. Then the what it looks like, what it actually ends up being that helps you feel the way you want to feel, that you receive to help it feel the way that you want to feel, that you bring into being, that you take actions toward, that you choose and you hold your standards. That is how you want it to feel. So when they say know exactly what you want the thing to be, yes, that's true, but you're gonna attach to, you're going to commit to how you want it to feel. Out the what it looks like, that can change over time. Technology changes, aesthetics change, locations change, populations change, interests change, but how you want it to feel can remain the same. Okay. So, say you want a vehicle, maybe I want to feel safe and steady, right? That you want it just to feel sound and steady. But maybe you want it to feel quick and zippy and responsive. And maybe you want it to feel luxurious, functional. Maybe you want it to feel reliable to get you from A to Z, without worry. Okay. Then the what it looks like can come into being. Okay. I had a sense of what I wanted my next vehicle to feel like. And I went through and test drove and researched. I can't tell you how many different makes and models of vehicles until I finally arrived on one that's actually a stretch for what I would have thought that I could have at one time. Often these things will stretch you. Okay. Is that yes, that's what I want. That's exactly how I wanted it to feel. This is what it looks like. This is my standard. This is what I choose. This is the thing that I'm going to take the actions toward. The next mistruth, incorrectly understood truth, is that wanting and desire is bad. That the second that you have desire or want, that you're putting yourself in lack, that you don't have that thing. Okay. That you need to be just really happy and really content with what you have now. And then that gratitude will magnetize the next things towards you. Here's what I'm going to say about that. It's not the wanting and the desiring that is negative energy or low vibe, or it's the energy behind it. Okay. So when I say, oh, poor me, I don't have, right? Or I'm not good enough because I don't have, or nobody is going to respect me because I don't have, then that, yes, that is low vibe. That is going to unmagnetize and reject that thing. That is putting you in a lower vibe state, um, and going to make you wanting to attract that thing or call in the resources more difficult to do. And it's going to kind of repel the resources that you are trying to call in to bring that into being. All right. But when we say, yes, yes, this is the thing for me. Yes. How fortunate am I that I get to have this caliber of thing in my experience, that I have said yes to this sensation, this desire, and I've committed to bringing that into being. And I know that I can do that. How cool is that? Yes. Yes, I have value. Yes, I hold my standards. Yes, I get to bring this experience or the experience of that thing into my experience. Okay. That is a high vibe, attracting, right? So it's not that the wanting is bad. I say often, it's not what you do, it's the beliefs you have behind why you do it. Okay. So when I believe that I'm good enough, that I have incredible gifts and skills and abilities, and that I have this love of experience, that I value that's a thing that I'm willing to put the effort toward, that I commit to me that way, that I embrace and have such gratitude for the experiences that I get to have and the resources, the things that contribute to that experience. Yeah. Yes. It's a great thing. Okay. So when they tell you that wanting is bad or desiring is lack mindset, that's not necessarily true. Okay. So that was an incomplete um understanding of that belief. The next is to the light, that your goal is to go to the light, that the light is the highest value. I wish you love and light and blessings. I wish you light to you, go towards the light. There's so many different ways that that's incorporated into even just like signatures on our emails, right? But what people don't know is that that is incomplete. So, yes, there's the shadow where the light's been blocked, right? Where the light waves have been distorted. It's kind of murky down there. It's where our fears and our insecurities and our unsuredness lives, is in the shadow. That's the understanding. That's the conversation. And then it's go towards the light, that this is what's great. The light energetically is what's known. This is all knowledge. This is all understanding. This is what's been done, what's been ordered, what's been organized. Okay. This is that um, fraction of the light spectrum that's visible light. The middle, this is that like tiny spectrum where we're able to see it as humans and perceive that light. Okay. There's nothing wrong with that. It's just that that's not the end. And those of you that work with me are meant to go past that to the dark light. This is before the light. This is ultra. Okay. This is the ultra waves. These are not ordered. Okay. So it can make it kind of scary. They are not oriented. So they're not all going a certain direction. These are more bouncing around waves, but they're still have a direction, right? They're not murky and swimming like shadow. This isn't light that's been blocked. This is light that has not come into the visible spectrum yet. This is ultra. So, what happens in the dark? It is that it has not yet come onto the grid. And so instead of 90-degree grids, there is all possibility of connecting and weaving and putting together and orienting in unseen yet patterns. This is where you create something new. This is where this part of you that you're not supposed to be becomes your specialty. This is where this weaving of this idea and this idea and this facet of you and that love of yours and this way of being and this facet of you all can get woven together and can all come together towards one target. This is you showing up your dream practice, creating your dream practice, owning all of those facets of you, owning who you are no matter what, owning what you're interested in, and putting it together in a new way. Dark is not bad. People are confusing dark and shadow as the same thing, and they are not the same thing. Okay. Again, that was a misunderstanding, incomplete teaching. And the last one, for those of us that are high achievers, that are go-getters, that like to finish the thing, when am I going to be done? What do I got to do to get there? When we start in personal reflection world, when we start in the self-help world, when we start in spiritual teaching, in meditation, in therapy, in this realm, we are taught that there is not an end to this work. There is not a hill to climb to see the view. And there is not a time when this inner reflection and healing and personal work is done. And that alone can be really intimidating and really defeating for some of us that want to achieve the thing. We're willing to do the work, whatever it takes. I got it. We're going to do this thing and we're going to accomplish this. I will tell you the end is further than you think it is, especially when you start this path. The end is much further down the way than you think it's going to be. But there is an end. It is worth continuing. Now, yes, as in hiking, there is false summit after false summit after false summit after false summit. But there does come a place where there's peace, there's comfort. See, sure. And there's a moment where that weight kind of, but it's not, I have to fix this. It's not, oh gosh, I got to do this work. It's, it releases and becomes, I'm curious. And it becomes about choice instead of have to. There is an end. It's not going to look like the end you're thinking. And like I said, it's much further down the road than you're hoping. But there is an end. There is a goal. There is a target. There is a purpose. This isn't just work after work after work for the sake of doing the work. There is an end where there's peace. There's internal comfort. There's, yeah, I did that. It is possible. So if you want more with those truths, understandings that I help you see and complete, if you are wanting to dive more into that, if you're wanting support with that, let me know. This is what I do. We'll see you soon.